What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here, and in today's video, we are going to go over how to blow up your cold calling business for real estate wholesaling. I am super excited for this one, guys, and yes, you can blow up your cold calling business very easily with some of the tips I'm going to give you today. Really, if you're starting out in real estate wholesaling and you want to get into cold calling, this is the video for you. So I'm going to go over some of the steps I do for cold calling to actually blow it up and for you to get the best results possible. So if you have no money, if you have some money, overall, if you want to get into cold calling for real estate wholesaling, this is for you guys. So before we get into it, remember, guys, you need to smash that like button and subscribe. Comment something. Let me know what market you're in. I'll tell you if that market is really good for cold calling or not. I love to help that out. Also helps the YouTube algorithm to destroy these gurus. So remember, guys, I'm here to help you out make your first $100,000 in real estate wholesaling absolutely for free. Again, if we've never met, my name is Zach Ginn. I'm a real estate wholesaler out of Port St. Lucie, Florida, and I turned $300 into $100,000 before I graduated high school, all through the power of wholesaling. And I'm here to help you guys out. Now, yes, I made that money through bandit signs, but where the true wealth for my wholesaling came from that I turned into a lot of other investments was through cold calling in my college dorm room, a high equity list. And I spent 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, literally for a year straight cold calling. And I had a mojo dialer, triple line dialer, and I was cold calling the same list of 4,000 for a year straight and over hundreds of thousands of dollars from it. And it absolutely changed my life. So I learned a lot during that year cold calling. It was definitely a learning experience, but it helped my confidence talking to sellers. And it really helped me just talk to sellers, do negotiation when I was virtually wholesaling, doing that, really learn how to become as good of a cold caller as possible. So really quickly, guys, let's get into everything. So let me break down some things on the cold calling that you guys need to sort of understand to help you guys out the most. So first of all, when it comes to blowing up your cold calling list, your cold calling results, you got to know what your list is, because I get so many DMs, so many people saying, oh, Zach, you make cold calling seem so easy, but it absolutely sucks. I did it for 100 hours and I got nothing, no leads, no one said anything. It was just terrible. The first question I'm going to ask you, not what market you're in, not your experience for cold calling, not your confidence, not what guru you bought a course from. The number one question I'm going to ask you is, what list did you call from? And that's going to be number one. Number two, be skip tracing. But number one, what list are you calling from? And this is very indicative of if you're going to have a lot of success in your real estate wholesaling business or not when it comes to your cold calling and your marketing results. And it's something not a lot of gurus talk about. It's more sexy having the cooler script or the awesome sales follow-up process. But really the list is one of the most important ones. And it really depends on what type of cold calling you want to do. So if you want to do 30 minutes to an hour a day of cold calling, a huge list is probably not the best thing for it, or if you have no budget or time management of that budget. But let's say, for example, you have a lot of money or you have a lot of time on your hands. Now, this is very important, guys, when it comes to cold calling. Either you have a lot of money and we can scale this thing up and you don't have to do it, or you don't have a lot of money and we're going to have to put in a lot of sweat, a lot of tears, a lot of just mostly sweat, honestly, just getting that money just getting those deals with no money. And that's going to be a little tougher. But honestly, this video, I'm showing you how to do it all. So it's pretty exciting. So the list is so important. So my personal favorite list, if I had to go back and with dialing services that we have now, what I would say is a high equity list is still probably the best one. Now, why is this? A high equity list, you can just sift through that whole thing and you can call that list for an entire year and you're going to get deals every single month on it if you do it the right way. If you get through a list of 10,000 high equity sellers every single month, very, very high chance you're going to get a deal. Now, how you deal with that is up to you. So what I mean by that, so a high equity list, everyone's like, that's a super saturated list. Yes, everyone texts that list, everyone cold calls that list, but really, you're gonna call the seller at the right time with a big high equity list. And in a high equity list, if you don't know what that is, that's basically a list of a seller, not even a motivated seller, just someone who just owns a property and they don't owe a lot on it. So maybe the house is worth $100,000 and they only owe $40,000 on it, which means 60 divided by the 100,000 value. $60,000 is what the actual equity is on the property.
So 100 minus the $40,000 in debt is $60,000, which is the equity. So 60% equity or more. That, in my opinion, is high equity. People say 50% is high equity, 40% plus is high equity. I say 60% is high equity. And these people, they have a lot of equity in the house, which means they're willing to, they can take a larger discount on paper, which is awesome. So high equity is amazing. And honestly, calling a high equity list versus calling a probate list is completely different. I'm going to tell you, probably going to take you 20 to 30 hours to get a deal on a high equity list. That's probably what's going to take. Honestly, even 40. It might even take 40 hours to get a deal on a high equity list. Probate list, probably 5 to 10. Just think about that for a second. If I had a cold call for 40 hours, I'd probably get one high equity deal. Maybe that's $10,000 to $15,000. But if I spent 5 to 10, I could get that on a probate one. What's the difference? The high equity list is hammered a lot more saturation in there. And honestly, it's just not as niched out versus a probate list where not a lot of people are actually cold calling a probate list. I mean, I know in my county, maybe 1-2 people are cold calling that list and a bunch of realtors are too. I have a huge probability of getting a wholesaling real estate deal through a niched out probate list than the high equity one. Here's the problem. I can get through all of my county and all my markets probates probably within 50 hours in a month. But I could do 40 hours a week or 50 hours. I could honestly cold call 60 hours a week if I wanted to every single week for a full year straight and I don't run out. I'll run out after week 1 or 2 with probates. But if I do all the high equity, it's almost impossible to run out. So that's why I'm a huge fan of the high equity is you can just keep hammering it, and keep going. It's very easy. Honestly, if you pull a list of 10,000 properties with your cold calling on the list, it's just pull 10,000 to high equity, 60% plus with the right filters on it on listrei.com, and you cold call that list every single month, you will bound to get a deal and it will pay for that. It's very simple. Wholesaling is a very simple process, but again, it's simple, but it's hard. That's the only way I could really think about it and describe it that way is wholesaling real estate, simple but hard. Just call this list and you'll get a deal. But 5 hours a day is a lot of work. So that's the way to do it. Another one is large niche lists. That would probably be my second favorite one. And a large niche list is basically not high equity. That's not niche, but putting tiny niche lists together into a huge list. That is way better than high equity, a little less than probates, but it's really good. So if I just pull the code violations, I might get 500 for the month. That's not close to 10,000. So that's not good. But what if I pulled the code violations plus all my probates, all the eviction lists, all the water shutoff lists, all the divorce lists, and all the credit card lists, and maybe utility liens list, or I did water shutoff, so utility liens list, and maybe I sprinkle in some unknown equity in there too. Maybe I hit 4,000 or 5,000 on there. That would do way better than high equity. And just combining a bunch of niche real estate wholesaling lists together to a huge one to cold call is one of my favorite ones out there. Like it's no one talks about it. Everyone says pull high equity or maybe just do the little ones, pull them together, attack it. Here's the issue though. So if you tell me a cold calling sucks, I can't get a cold calling deal, it's the worst thing ever, I'll say, let me know what your list is. And everyone said, oh, I was calling a vacant list. And come on, you're just pulling a vacant list. That's decent, but what's going on with it? Oh, no one's the owner. It's terrible. Like the skip tracing. Well, what do you do for skip tracing? They always say this. Some person on a Facebook group commented on Fiverr saying skip tracing was 2 cents and I paid him all this money and now my cold calling sucks. Like there's so many of these DMs I get is like people think cold calling sucks. It's terrible. And I get no results and I'm doing the right list. It's because you're paying a VA on Fiverr for skip tracing. Why are you doing that? Literally, there's 2 ways to do skip tracing. There's free and paid. To get the right skip tracing, there's free skip tracing and there's paid skip tracing. They're both going to get you the right phone number. You just got to choose what you want to do. That's it. The free one is a lot more work. The paid one's very easy, but you got to pay money for it. So you're going to pay either way. You're going to pay with your time or your money. Which one you do with the skip tracing, it's ultimately up to you. So what I would say, if you want to get into free skip tracing, basically, let's say you got a list of 100 probates. That's probably good for free. Start paying for skip tracing. I think if your list is over 1,000, you need to consider paying for it because your time's probably best spent cold calling besides like spending your time doing the free skip tracing. So that's kind of my opinion on it. But really, free skip tracing, if you want to go, my favorite one of all time, like this is the OG stuff I did back when I was broke. TruePeopleSearch.com, TruePeopleSearch.com, TruePeopleSearch.com is the greatest free skip tracing site ever. And I know a lot of skip tracing guys that, run services and stuff are going to be mad at me for this, but honestly, they're amazing. Like if I could find a way to do batch, pull all of my skip traces through True People Search, I just click a button and it'll run the API on it, I would do it. You can't. That's the problem. So if I would have a list of 50,000 and I want to get a text blasting going on or a cold calling on there, what am I going to do? You're going to have to pay for it. And if you want to pay for it, you got to use the best data out there. And so I recommend credit bureau data. Now, what is credit bureau data? Again, credit bureau data is, let's say if I'm looking to buy a property and I have a mortgage, I have a 9-to-5 job and I'm trying to apply for a mortgage or I'm applying for something and I need credit. Let's say I'm trying to buy the latest Gucci watch or the latest Rolex watch. And of course I'm a baller, but I got no money. So I'm going to get this thing financed. That's for a different story because people do that. They'll finance stupid stuff. They'll finance a Gucci shirt to make people people that like hate them think that they're cool. I hate that. But let's say they get a Gucci shirt financed because it's a $500 shirt, a $1,000 like Louis Vuitton shirt. Okay. Just stupid. You guys shouldn't do that. But let's say they want to get it financed and they have to get their credit pulled. To pull your credit, you're going to have to put in your information. You're going to fill it out. So what I'm going to fill out is Zachary Ginn, put my social in there, put my address, and I'm put all my other personal information on there. Now I send that, the credit bureau takes it, they take my credit, and they give my credit number back, which cool, I got approved. Now I can finance my Gucci shirt for $15 a month. So at like 15% interest. But what happens to that data? I just sent all that information to the credit bureau. What do they do? Does the credit bureau put in a secret safe somewhere and they don't sell it and they keep it very protected and everything's fluffy and nice? No, the credit bureau is going to sell that data. And guess who's going to buy it? Me. So if a person who pulls credit, they spent that money on a Gucci shirt and now they have no money to fix the property and they're not behind on all their taxes and they're trying to impress everyone. They bought all these toys and cars and now they got to get rid of the property and they got to do it fast and they call me, or maybe they're on the list of a tax delinquency. How am I going to contact them? Well, he put his credit information in there and now they sell it and I can use a skip tracing service like Batch Leads, or there's a bunch of other ones. I think Need to Skip's another one, but Batch Leads is the one that I use because they're the cheapest and I can buy it from them. Batch goes straight from the credit bureau from there. And basically they buy it from the credit bureau, which I buy it from them. So I get that information from the credit. That is what credit bureau data is. And I don't like to go on a huge tangent on it, but I think you guys need to understand if you're going to pay for skip tracing, where you're getting this information from. The free skip tracing is basically, I think, pulled online. I don't know exactly how they do it, but they do it very well. So I would say it's a very good one, but credit bureau data, you got to understand what kind of data you're buying. Now, if you use Fiverr, they're going to try to like scrape it from True People Search, and it's not the best, and they're terrible at it. And honestly, it's better just doing True People Search by yourself. So that's free versus paid skip tracing. Very, very interesting stuff. So next here is we're going to get going. So now we have a list. We pulled that list. Now we got to think about what dialer to use. So you can do your own dialing. You can go to Walmart, buy your own little phone and start like manually dialing in there, or get a Google Voice. Now, if you have no money at all, you want to get into wholesaling and you want to get into cold calling, I would say probably the best thing to do is get a Google Voice and set up a little voicemail in there. Hey, this is Zach. Sorry to miss your call. Please give me a call back. And then use your personal phone and then just link it through there so you're not calling from your phone. And then boom, start cold calling with that. And that should be probably the best one you can do. Change the phone numbers here and there. But that's probably what I would do if I want to start out with no money. Now, if I had some money, I'd invest in some dialers. I use ZenCall. It's a triple line dialer. It's a 12-line dialer. Mojo's the triple line dialer. You can use like Batch Dialer. That's like 10, I think. But use whatever one you want. But if you have money, I would invest in a dialer. Remember, you got to switch phone numbers because the carriers are getting smarter on it, but it is still amazing. But really, I have to think about this. If I had 500 to $1,000 for my marketing, like that's all I had, I would get into cold calling, not SMS. The reason why I like cold calling so much more than SMS is because cold calling builds a muscle of talking to sellers that SMS just doesn't. When you deal with SMS, you're just texting and you're not really doing that much work. Like you're just texting. It's not much confidence. You don't have to learn mirroring. You don't have to learn any of the stuff. And then when you go on the appointment, you're just destroyed because you don't know what to do. On the cold calling, you learn when you're talking to sellers what to do, how to match people's tones, tonality, talking to sellers, making sure they talk enough where you ask the right questions. And you got to do it on the spot. You get very quick talking to sellers like that. And you know exactly how to answer objections versus someone gives you an objection over text. And you have like 15 minutes to go look up the best answer, go look at my YouTube channel and see what objections I would answer in that one. When you're cold calling, you got to do it very fast, and it's very good to do because when you're on the appointment, when that happens, you got to know what to do. So the difference in there is cold calling will build up that muscle of actually learning how to talk to sellers, and it's a muscle that no guru course is going to teach you. I love you guys watch my videos, but there's no substitute. You can watch all the videos I have. There will be no substitute with you going out there and actually talking to sellers in person. So that's personally what I would say. If you have an accent, I don't think cold calling is going to affect you that much. I'm telling you, there's people in the Philippines right now, Mexico, with way worse accents than you watching this that are just closing deals that are working for someone else. So don't be scared of your accent. The top wholesalers in this country, there's a couple of them, have very thick accents, and they are absolutely destroying it. You know why? They have confidence. And we're going to talk about confidence like a million times in this video, but it is so important. So let's see here. We got some comments. Make sure see what market everyone's in. Fresno, Raleigh, what's up? Sweet. So now we get into it. We have a dialer. We know what we're going to do here. Now we're going to get in the script. Now, this is more of a beginner's video, but I can get advanced cold calling in there. We're going to do an advanced cold calling video later, but really we're going to go through the simplest script I could possibly give you. Now, there's a million scripts you can use, but I think keeping it simple, KISS, keep it simple, stupid, is the best way to get started in cold calling because a lot of people are like, oh, I need to find the perfect script. I need the perfect list. I need the perfect skip tracing. I got to do all this research. No, guys, this is it. Okay, look at me. I'm the captain now. 2 to 7 p.m., you're going to be cold calling a high equity list that you'll pull from listrei.com, or you're going to pull the local code violations and the probates. You're going to go pay for the skip tracing, or you're going to triple search, get it for free. And what we're going to do is we're going to get Google Voice or whatever dialer we want to do, load it in, and we're going to start calling from 2 to 7. We're going to use this script. Like there's no analysis. There's no studying the script. This is it. Ready? Hey, is this the owner of 123 Main Street? Yes. Oh, this is John. Great. I actually had a quick question for you. Would you be interested in selling that property or getting a cash offer on it? No? Okay. Have a great day. Next. Yes. Then we'll go on the next one. That is literally it. That is the simple script I have for you. Like I can give you a million other scripts. I have different scripts. That's not the script that I use, but I've used this script for a very long time though, but it's not the one I currently use, but really like that's it. This is the simple script you can use to make $100,000 this year in real estate wholesaling. Like that's it. There's a million gurus out there teaching their scripts, or you got to buy someone's script. Like literally sift through the nose, get to the yeses, and then go from there and have a conversation and qualify them. It's so simple. It's just a lot of work. That's the problem. What our goal here is to sift through all the no's till we get a yes. We're going to qualify that seller, which we're going to talk about a little more in this video. Once they're qualified, we're going to set the appointment, negotiate the price, get a contract, find a cash buyer, assign it, get our checks, and repeat. That's how simple this business is. And that's how simple this video should be. And I'm not going to make this complicated. I want this to be as simple as possible for someone starting out real estate wholesaling to know this. I wish that someone sat my butt down and told me how simple cold calling was, because I thought it was this huge, complicated, like Wolf of Wall Street type thing where you had to be the expert on everything and you got to be the slickest person out there. No, you literally just have to be in front of the 90% of the battle in cold calling is just calling. It's not even asking the question. It's literally just getting the dialing started. That is 90% of the battle here. And if you can just do that, that's it. Just ask the question. Are you the owner? Because you want to verify they're the owner. Yes. Piques their interest. Okay. Are you interested in a cash offer, or are you interested in selling the property? yes or no. That's all you got to get. Like literally, that's it. If they are interested, we're going to qualify them. If they're no, on the next one. If someone's not interested in selling the property, what is the point of talking to them? Now, the only other thing I could add on here that a little too many lines to make this a simple, like a little one line thing, but you could ask if they say no, if they're interested in selling any other properties, or say, are you interested in selling any properties that you own? You can put that in there too. That might get you an extra deal a year, extra one to two deals a year. But that's literally how simple this wholesaling script for cold calling is. And if you can master that script, which is super simple and super easy to do, I'm telling you, you can make your first 6 figures right now in wholesaling. The question is, are you going to get behind the call dialer right now and start doing it? It's all honestly up to you. I can't make you dial. I can't make you ask this simple question. Now remember, what's the worst that someone's going to say if I ask this question? Screw you, Zach. Bleep, bleep, bleep you, Zach. Okay. Literally, I have pretty tough skin from cold calling for a very long time, but really, why are you mad at me? Like if someone's angry, I'm scared that someone's going to be very aggressive towards me. I mean, you don't know me. Like you honestly, people I'm cold calling, they don't know me. So them calling me names has no effect on me. Now, if it's my family member saying something like that, maybe it'll have an effect on me. But honestly, a random person who doesn't want to sell a property has a mean opinion about me. It will not affect me at all. And I learned that very quickly in cold calling. So what's the worst? So what's the best? You make $40,000 on one wholesale deal, or maybe $70,000 on a wholesale deal. I've done that before, and your life completely changes. Someone calling you a meanie versus getting $50,000 and changing your life. Worst case scenario, best case scenario. And worst case scenario, you call for a year, you make $30,000, $40,000. Like that's a full-time job too if you're really, really bad at cold calling. So I'm telling you, it drives me crazy that people are starting out in real estate wholesaling and they always complain. This is why I made this video. I answered some DMs today and I'm getting through all of them. Don't worry, guys. They got my DMs, but I personally answer all of them. I was going through my DMs and just everyone's like, cold calling sucks. Cold calling sucks. I'm like, tell me, let's do a breakdown of what you're doing in cold calling. And people just make it too complicated. So for all these people watching, this is what you need to do to just make $100,000. It's not easy. It's the work you got to do. That's it. So again, we're going to sift through all the no's to get a yes. We're going to cold call Monday through Friday from 2 to 7 p.m. This is the time that I did, and this is the time I've scientifically Zach science to get the best real estate wholesaling deals. In my personal opinion, that's what I did, and that was the best for me. There's people getting off of work about after 6. I want to hit them before dinner because people get very upset when you call them during like a family dinner. So that's kind of where I'm at. Then 2, you get some calls. It's not the best, but really in the morning, I started doing my follow-ups and then appointments in the morning. So this was kind of the best schedule for me. And I was in college at the time, but that's probably what I would say. Like wholesaling's it's not complicated. Do this time because I always get, I don't know what time. I got to do all my research. This is the time to do it. Now, if you're on the Pacific, then do 2 to 7 Pacific, East 2 to 7 Eastern. That's it. Confidence is everything, guys. And this is where I don't want to get in a huge rant on this, but your confidence when you're cold calling is everything. That's the honest truth. It's a simple business, but you got to be confident. And you can watch whatever confident video. You watch all the Gary Vee videos. I love Gary Vee videos. Trust me. Gary Vee videos are like my Netflix, okay? I don't watch a lot of TV shows or Netflix that'll waste my time, but Gary Vee videos, that's something I'll get into. So that would motivate me or pump me up like crazy, but that's temporary. Having the motivation and the confidence to keep going when things get hard is one of the most important things out there. So I would say that your confidence is extremely hard. Now, getting in front of the dialing and start dialing is 90% of the battle, but a huge part of the battle also is your confidence. And if you watch any of my live cold calls, I might not know the answer to something, or I might deal with a seller who's super aggressive towards me and they're just not making it easy at all. But I have confidence that I can help them. And if you have no confidence in real estate wholesaling, remember, you should have all the confidence in the world. You should just be confident, not that you're a good salesperson or you got the money to buy a house, but have the confidence that you know a way to help this person out and provide a solution to their problem. That's all the confidence you need. And then after that, it's easy. That's it. You don't have to be an expert in real estate or even know real estate that well to have confidence. VAs are closing hundreds of thousands of dollars of real estate wholesaling profits every single month. Do you think VAs in the Philippines, like, no offense to them, but do you think VAs in the Philippines understand real estate as well as you do in the United States? No, you don't. They don't. But they're providing great leads and great deals. And you can do, like, seriously. I love VAs. They're one of my best cold callers and they give me so many deals, but they don't know real estate as well as I do, or as even like an 18-year-old kid. At least they understand the local area. So you should have more confidence than ever that you can get your first deal through cold calling and you can start dialing and get money. That's all I can tell you guys. Like, that's what I'm saying. So once we get our actual call, and let's say someone says they are actually interested in selling the property, we're going to be asking these 4 questions to qualify them to see if it's a good real estate wholesaling lead or not. Very important for us to know this stuff. And this is the 4 questions basically every wholesaler has used since the 80s to see if someone's motivated or not. I read this from a book from 2004 when I started real estate wholesaling, these 4 questions. And these are the OG ones. So some gurus claim that they invented it, but there's guys in 2008 on YouTube talking about this stuff. So number 1 is motivation. Someone says they're interested in selling a property. You want to ask them what their motivation for selling the property is. Why are they looking to sell? What is the reason they're looking to sell? And if they give you some slack on it, or they say, I just want to sell just to sell. Okay, well, outside of the price, why are you looking to sell the house? That's it. Someone might say, my price is $100,000. That's it. That's it. I just want to get out of this. Okay, outside of the price, why are we looking to sell the property? Helps build that rapport in there, helps build more of a connection. But it's very, very simple, guys. So ask them what their motivation is. Then ask them what the condition of the property is. What is the condition of it? How's the roof? How's the AC? How's the flooring? When's the last updates? How's everything going on it? And just ask them about the general condition of the property. How's the pool, driveway, things like that? How up to date is it? And when's the last time you've changed the roof? Any permits pulled? Things like that. You don't have to be an expert. Just know the right questions to ask. And it's really for us to get sort of an understanding of what the prices on the property are going to be. Next, here's time frame. What is the time frame that they're looking to sell the property? So are you looking to sell this house within a month, within 2 months? Is this 6 months in the future? Let me know. And the time frame there is very important. That's another question we ask, because if someone has a property that's in perfect condition and they want top dollar for it, so there's no motivation, and they want to sell it in 12 months, it's probably not a good deal. Last one here is price. Price is huge. Now, price isn't going to be my determining factor. So the general rule for me when I'm talking to a seller and trying to qualify them, especially for cold calling, is, if they have the right motivation, the condition is rough, and they're looking to sell quick, and they want a stupid price for it, or a very high price, chances are I just need to talk to them a little more, show them what really needs to be done to the property, how much work actually needs to be done, and you get the right price. And I can bring them down in price pretty easy by just building rapport, using the Ford method from there. Now, if the price is super high and they just won't budge on it, it's probably not a good deal. But really, if motivation, condition, time frame are sort of there, go on the appointment either way. I've had deals where the price was just not good at all, and I ended up walking with a contract and made $40K. And if I cold called, look at the price was too high, I would have not gotten the deal. So really, building that rapport can bring the price down. Building rapport can't bring motivation up. Building rapport can't make the condition worse or change their time frame, but rapport can bring the price down. So think about that for a second. I'm going to say this one more time. Now, guys, you're watching this video live. I got to give you the gems. So I was waiting 29 minutes to bring the gems in here, but rapport can only bring down price. So think about that for a second. Next here is rapport. So how do we build rapport? When you're talking to sellers, rapport is super, super important. So to build rapport for your real estate wholesaling business, and really to build that rapport skill set for real estate wholesaling, you're just going to have to learn how to connect with people. And you don't have to be really good at wholesaling to connect with people. There's people that work 9 to 5s that maybe make $30,000 a year that are absolutely great at talking to people and just building a connection. They got a million friends, they're great people, and everyone just loves to be around them. You might not be that person. You might be an introvert that doesn't like talking to people in general, like being behind your computer all day. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're going to have to learn. It's probably going to be harder for you to do that. Now, the good news is it's probably easier for you to close deals if you're an introvert than not, because you shut up more, you ask the right questions, and you do more active listening. So there's a plus and a minus to everything. Extrovert, it's a lot easier for you to actually get in front of the door, go out there, start cold calling, but it's a lot harder when it comes to that active listening part. Now, if you're introvert, it's better for that, for the vice versa. So rapport, the best way to do it, in my opinion, is just the Ford method. So that's literally how I build my rapport. As if you watch my live cold calls, that is what I do. So Ford is family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So if you're talking to someone, ask them about their family. How's their family? Do they have kids, grandkids? Let me know about that. Oh, occupation. What do they do for a living? What does their spouse do for a living? Recreation. What do they like to do for fun? Are they big in fishing, football? Like, what do they like? D's dreams. Where do they like to look? Where do they want to be in the future? Things like that. It's very easy to do. So that's the question. If I ever get stuck on like how to build rapport, that's what I would do. And another thing about cold calling is once they're qualified and we're starting to cold call a little more, I like to push back a little, always be leaving ABL. So I'm always trying to leave after the cold call like establishment has been set if I'm like following up. So don't do this on your first cold call, but if you're talking to a seller, this is just in general, you should know, you should probably list the property with a realtor. Asking something like that on the cold call, or why haven't you listed with a realtor? That will help you learn more of the motivation. Just a little tip out there for you. Now, what we're going to do is now we get it. We're going to put it in our CRM. So maybe in Podio, someone's looking at interested in selling the property. I learned their motivation, their time frame, condition, price. Said, hey, is it okay if I call you back in about 30 minutes? I can look up the property a little more and see if there's something I can do to help you out. Sure. We call them next. We're going to set a soft price, and then we're going to hit them with an appointment. So what is the price you're looking to sell it for? Let's say they say 100. I know the thing's probably worth 90, or let's say it's worth 120. Let's just say in this example, it's worth 120. They want to sell for 100. And I say, Mr. Seller, I know you're trying to sell this thing for 100, and unfortunately, I'm a little lower on that. Is it okay? I still want to meet you. I still want to look at the property. Maybe things can change, but what if I was able to meet you there? I'm probably closer to, I know you're 100 at like 85. I still want to go see the property. Things can always change, but I'm sort of on that. Is that something that you're willing to work with? Yes. Okay, sure. Go meet them, bring them down price, put it at 70, sell it, make 50K. Guys, you guys just sometimes have like $10,000 deals in your head, and that's like the lowest you're going to offer. I have $50,000, $60,000 ones in my head. And the average wholesale in my market makes $10,000 to $15,000 on a deal, and my average one's 40 to 50. Why is that? My mindset's different. I go bigger, and I always get it. So not always, but usually I'll get it, and I make more money doing that versus the average wholesaler because I always offer the lowest prices. That's it. So keep that in mind too. Remember, they're qualified, put in the Podio, and then follow up with them hopefully every other day or every week at worst if you're like the busiest person ever. That's probably what I would say. Some tips I can give you is consistent cold calling is equal to consistent deals. Consistent deals is consistent cold calling. If you're in cold calling and you're like, oh, I do cold calling, but I only get a deal, maybe every other month, or it's just very sporadic, or I get leads very sporadically. Well, your cold calling is probably very sporadic too. So the more consistent you are with the cold calling, that's why I set a strict schedule. No ifs, ands, or buts. I don't care if the Pope wants to go meet me 2 to 7 p.m. Maybe if the Pope, he can bless me on my cold calling. But 2 to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, that's cold calling time. I'm not working out. I'm working out after or before. Usually before because I'm tired after cold calling. But 2 to 7 p.m., that's my time. Cold calling, dates, whatever you want to do. 2 to 7, no. That is my time for cold calling. That is the time I'm using to build my dreams. Stay consistent and you'll get more deals. Remember, the more niche you make your list, the better chance of you getting a deal per hour or per call. Remember that. A cold calling a high equity list versus actually cold calling a vacant list versus cold calling a probate list versus calling a vacant list and cold calling a tax delinquency list. Still get better on the tax delinquency. So that's it, guys. Remember, track your KPIs. Your KPIs are super duper important. Know what your numbers are. Know that calling this high equity list gives me a deal. I make about $1,000 an hour cold calling if I'm doing it through the vacant high equity ones versus tax delinquencies just don't work. Track your KPIs. You'll know very well. I say hit your list every quarter if it's too big. Now, these are lists like 30, 40, 50,000, 1,000 people lists. I think 10,000 lists every single month is pushing it, but I think you can do it. And remember, the last one here is when you're cold calling, you need to be guarding your time. What do I mean by guarding your time when it comes to cold calling? If you're talking to a seller and they're interested in it, but they're talking forever, they're not interested, but they keep asking you questions on the next one. I am super quick to shut up a seller if they're not interested in selling the property and get to the next one, because I'm gonna call them next month and ask them if anything changed. So if you give me a yes, I'll talk to you. If you just, I don't know how to explain this, but I'm very rude when I'm cold calling. So if you're not looking to sell a property, on the next one, I'm here to only talk to people who are yeses. From there, I have a very slow, drawn out, very great conversation that'll eventually lead to a deal, because that's what you need to do in today's market to get a wholesaling deal. Building the rapport, getting it from there. But if you're saying a no, guard your time. Don't have a conversation with them. Go to the next one. It's as quick and simple as easy. So that's it, guys. So right now we are going to be answering questions, because I get a lot of people like, oh, this isn't live. Zach never does these live, or these are pre-recorded ones, because I know other like wholesaling gurus do that. So guys, I do it live. So we got Corey from Fresno, Raleigh. What's up? Zach, Houston checking in here. What's up, guys? Sweet. Let's get some other comments going in here. Kristen, listen to this guy. Eric knows what's up. Screw the other videos. Watch and instantly clicked. Awesome. I need to gain confidence and learn to talk to sellers efficiently. Hopefully this video helped you. Let's get this money. That's what I'm talking about. What's up, guys? What is up? How do you get the water shutoff list? That's a very good one. I use listrei.com, and all you really got to do from there is go to filters, lien lists, and utility liens list. Utility lien list also combines it with the water shutoff. That's how they do it. So listrei.com is the best one. Isn't it better to SMS blast credit card list rather than cold call, because the credit card companies are going to be calling them already? Yes, specifically for credit card debt list, I would say. But if you do the other one on listrei.com, it doesn't have to be credit card debt. Those are good, like other liens or mechanic liens. Now, I've cold call credit card debt lists, and they're not good, but you could still add them in a huge list if I'm just trying to get to 10,000. Better than nothing. Cyber background is legit as well. Okay, let me write that down. Cyber background. So I like True People Search, but that could be a decent one. Okay. Is paid skip tracing less accurate than... Is paid skip tracing less accurate the smaller the list? No. They all use the same one. Can you make more detailed videos on how to build rapport with a super cold? Of course, man. No worries, Sergio. I'd love to help. I build rapport the same way every single time, though. So I talk about the Ford method. I do a couple jokes, little nuances on there, and we go from there. Watch some of my recorded cold calling. You could see the little nuance stuff I use to build rapport. Just do cold calling space Zach Ginn, or cold calling space Flip with Rick, whatever one. But that's probably what I would do. Hey, Zach, my challenge is pulling enough records on niche lists, especially for smaller markets, to end up with very few records. Anything over 1,000 requires more general filters. Thanks in advance. That's why I'm doing super stacking on the list, on the niche lists. That's probably what I would personally recommend on there. So do a bunch of probates. From there, do a bunch of code violations, do a bunch of niche lists, stack them all. You're probably stacking maybe more than one. Do all the niche lists you possibly could think of, and then go from there. What's going to happen in cold calling once the Trace Act goes into effect July 21st, and how are you going to work around it? I've seen it. There's been a bunch of these acts before, and it really hasn't changed anything. There's this huge one in May or something that happened. No, March. Didn't do much. Cold calling is not going to go out, so I'm not really surprised. Or like, cold calling will be here. Like, people need cold calling. Cold calling is a big lobby, so I'm not really worried on it. You're probably going to change numbers a lot more. But me personally calling you Daniel, there should be no filtering on it, and the Trace Act won't do it. So I'm not selling anything when I'm cold calling. Think about that. You're exempt from a lot of things too if you're selling. You're not selling, you're actually calling to buy things. So a little different, but the Trace Act, honestly, we got to play it by ear. I think it's going to affect SMS more, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I don't think it's going to have a big effect. The guys I've talked to, the most important people, like when it comes to real estate wholesaling, say it's not really going to affect it too much. So you might have to change your numbers a little more, but it's not going to affect it. What about free, sometimes skipped lists from title companies? Do you think about their quality? No, but I think free numbers are better than no numbers. So I'd always add them in. I'm a one-man show. Yeah, a dialer basically is like a software that will, you have a list of, let's say, 100. You can do 3 at a time. So call 3 at a time. Whoever picks up will talk to you, put the person on the back end there. Just helps you constantly be dialing so you don't have to actually manually like dial yourself. It'll dial for you, which is pretty cool. And they're usually worth your time. For $100 a month, they're definitely worth your time. Hey, Zach, what's up? Southern Indiana here. Glad to be here. Sweet. I love it. We got a boat. Awesome. Sweet. Thanks, Ed. Do you take your time to explain how their number, explain how you got their number? Okay, Caleb. What I'll usually answer there is like, okay, hey, Caleb, what's up? Are you looking to actually sell your property? You know, just very general here. So what I usually get is, you know, I'll ask, hey, is this the owner 123 Main Street? Okay, this is Caleb, right? Okay, Caleb, are you possibly interested in selling that property? Maybe. Why do you get my number? Now, that's probably what you're talking about here. So what I do is when I ask is say, hey, the marketing department must have gotten it. I'm kind of sorry. I'm the one who actually just does the calls here and buys the properties. Usually the marketing department, I don't know where they get it from, but they just give me a list here to call, and that's how I got it. That's the easiest one to do. Blame it on someone else. So they're not mad at you. Great content, Zach. Thank you. Thanks, Tom. Keep it simple. That's what I always say. Hey, now the Trace Act started, affect cold calling. Honestly, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not Nostradamus, but I don't think it's going to affect it. Now, can I be wrong? Of course I can. But I honestly don't think it's going to have a big effect because I'm not cold calling hundreds and hundreds of thousands of phone numbers every single day. So I don't think it'll affect it too much. The Trace Act is probably going to affect more or less the robo-dialers because I get like 2 robo-dials a day. I don't think it's going to do the small mom and pop ones. I mean, the board of realtors is going to like be a little crazy. And remember, you got to think about the TCPA, the Telephone Communication Protections Act. The Trace Act is basically going to do against illegal robo-dialing activity. So actually, I was remembering a conversation I had about this with a big cold calling guy before I did this video. I totally forgot about this. But the Trace Act, remember, let me pull it up for you guys. Trace Act. Let me share it with you because I know a lot of people are like very concerned over this. So I don't think I did a video on it. So let me see here. Okay. So let me share my screen. This is from the FCC. So let's pop it up full screen here. Okay. So, Traced Act. In the Traced Telephone Robocall Abuse Criminal Enforcement and Deterrence, remember it says robocall. Congress gave the FCC new tools to fight unwanted, often illegal robocalls, the top consumer complaint report to the FCC annually. The top consumer complaint. Okay, the top consumer complaint. Okay, unwanted robocalls. Robo is robot. Robocalls and texts, one-ring phone scams, or they'll ring it once and then that's it. Call blocking and caller ID spoofing. So that means if I put your mom's phone number on mine and it looks like your mom's calling you, but it's really not your mom, no, we're using our personal phone number. So look here, guys. Like they're going after the big boys and the illegal boys and gals. We're not doing anything illegal here. We're following the Telephone Communication Protections Act of 1993, TCPA. If you call within the right times and you're not calling on the federal do not call list, you are 100% within the law to go call. That's it. If I call someone on Craigslist ad, it's not illegal. I'm not a robo. Remember, they're going after robocalls. I am a human. So we're fine, guys. I wanted to kind of clear the air there. And if someone says something, I'm just going to send this video. But that's it. Someone told me to pound sand and then had the urge to visit the beach and then continue the next call. Where do you get your cold callers? Upwork or onlinejobs.ph is really good too. Makes sense, Zach. I don't really calculate repairs until I'm there or I'm having the second conversation. So it's not really affect the cold call. I just get the condition. Daniel, your accent is not going to affect you at all. Like it might have a slight one on people that might have a problem with it, but there's people with accents destroying cold calling. You can do it. I'm telling you, it's confidence. Correct. A person with an accent with confidence will destroy someone without an accent without confidence. I have the hardest time finding buyers who actually buy my deals. I had no problem finding houses or lots to sell. It's literally just finding a buyer. Start cold calling cash sales from listrei.com. That's what I'd recommend. Start cold calling cash sales. Pull all the cash sales on listrei.com in your zip code or market, cold call them, and ask them if they are looking to buy more properties at a deep discount. Get the proof of funds, and that's it. What do you guys do when the ad has no wholesalers? Ad. I'm in a Facebook group and talk to people on Instagram and still on the dice. And the ones I talk to never actually buy. Cold call from listrei.com. That's it. Let's see here. When uploading the list to the auto dialer, what information should you keep on the spreadsheet? Do you delete the seller's home address and don't need that info? Yeah, I want their seller's home address. Make sure they're the owner of XYZ Main Street. Jax, seriously, start cold calling all the cash sales. Literally call cash buyers and ask them to look to buy more properties at a deep discount. If you have the right deals, they will come. It's like Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come. Get the deal and the cash buyer will come. I'm telling you. Zach, you're the real deal, bro. God bless you and the family. Antonio, God bless you. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me, guys. You give me support. Literally, I hate that everyone says if you find a buyer deal to come, like, no, in my experience, that's not how it goes. Jax, have you cold call all the cash transactions in your county for the last 6 months? Yes or no? That is the question I have for you. I think you haven't, which means that's just good. That means you do that, you'll get your cash buyers. What auto dialer do you use? I use Zencall, Xencall. 25. 2 to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. Right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yeah. Jacksonville in the house. Nice video. Thank you so much. Yes, you can. If you have $1,200 a month and a little time, what would you do? A little time. I'd have to hire a VA to cold call for me. That's kind of what I would do. And you have to pay for skip tracing. Thanks. When someone is the heir of the property, but not on the deed, right? 1,200, yeah. Someone's the heir of the property, but not on the deed. How long before they're able to sell? Depends on the state. In Florida, you can actually get it under contract and then have the probate process go through. If all the heirs do it, really depends on your state. So I'm not a lawyer, CPA, financial advisor. Also, in general, guys, I'm not a realtor, CPA, financial advisor, legal counsel, judge, court prosecutor, whatever. I'm not any of that stuff. Just remember that, guys. I'm not licensed. So that's my disclosure. I am licensed to make a lot of money doing whatever I want, though. So, Zach, when making the offer, I know I start low on the offer, but if they feel it's too low, do I just leave it there, or do I try a certain method to get him to try to negotiate? Leave it there and see where they're at. And then meet in the middle if you had to. What's holding us back? Fear and atmosphere. Get your own app, get calling. What other apps and to find vacant homes and cash buyers? ListREI.com is my favorite one. You can use ListSource, but that's not like an app. Drive for Dollars, use like a deal machine or something like that. That's probably where I'd be. Hope question is clear. Yeah, I mean, always go for the low offer, and then if they want to negotiate, they have to come up, not you. What they say about me is none of my business. True that. I love it, RK. Thanks. Yep, I'll work on that one. What auto dial do you use? ZenCall? Do you scribbleless? Batch does it. How do you get a buyer's lead list from title company? I called and asked and they said it's confidential. Yeah, no. You go to listrei.com, listrei.com, get a 7-day free trial of PropStream, go to cash sales, pull that list, use batch, smszach.com, pull all the skip tracing from there, pay for it, and then start calling that list and see if they're looking for a discounted properties. They're looking to buy your cash. Title company's not going to give you that. Is private info. No. You got to go to listrei.com. There's no easy ways to do it. Sal Rodriguez, I told you guys, someone's going to ask if this is live. Yes, this is live. This is not pre-recorded. I'm very honored that you think the way I'm presenting this seems like it's a very edited, clean video, but it's definitely live. I heard the fine is $50K per call. If you're using a robocall, yes, it is. Single call dialing on Google Voice, and I'm getting pretty deflated. LOL. Keep it up if you got no money. You'll get there. What about DNC? I use Batch to scrub it. Oops. Hold on. I just started cold calling again, and I sound like an idiot sometimes, and people are still willing to talk to me about their home or land. Yes, that's it. Have to get confidence up, and I'm still taking actions, everything, guys. I'm telling you, action and confidence is everything. 90% of the cold calling is getting behind that and just staying there for 5 hours to cold call. That's it. What do I tell the buyer so I know how to contact? I get it under contract first. Once you find the buyer, send them the deal, email, SMS, cold call them if you want. It's kind of a warm call actually from there. So that's probably what I would do. What do I tell buyers so I know who to contact for the deal? They don't deal with the seller at all. They'll deal with you only. Hopefully that answered the question. Just trying to figure out a way to approach data. Could send like 30,000 records to 3 callers every month or get 1 caller to call 5,000. I would say do 25 of the big data, then do 5,000 of niche data. You gotta figure out what your ROI and your budget is. So I would say I would do 1 month, 30,000 records, 3 callers. And then next month I would do 5,000 niche data and 1 caller. From there, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I got 2 deals from this 5,000 niche one, and then only 1 deal from the 30,000. And this $30,000 one cost me $2,000, and this niche one only cost me $1,000. I'm going to go push this niche one even harder. That's my best thing I can tell you, because I don't know your market. I don't know how good of cold callers you guys got, or your scripts, things like that, or your script tracing. I would do 1 month of one, then 1 month of the other, find what's good, and then push it. That's it. If you were brand new and starting tomorrow, had about a $2,500 budget, what would your first move be? I would listrei.com, get a dialer, go to smszach.com for skip tracing, start calling as many hours as I can. That's it. Take all my money from me tomorrow. That's what I'm doing. How do you say about the new law passed against skip trace to cold calling? Literally, Trace Act, talk about it. It's against robocalling. What's a quick way to give an offer? I usually get asked, what's your offer when they haven't given one. Easiest one right here. Hey, Mr. Wu-Tang, 23361. How much are you looking to sell the property for? You give me an offer. Okay. Just before I give you this offer, I had a quick question for you, Mr. Wu-Tang, 23361. Okay. Would you buy a car without test driving it? No, I'd never buy a car without test driving it. Okay. Then how do you expect me to buy a house without actually looking at quote unquote test driving it? Well, that kind of makes sense. I mean, I love boating because I'm in Florida, so that's how I build my rapport. It's like, I love boating. I love fishing. I mean, I would not ever buy a boat without like testing it, test driving it, getting them up behind the wheel, looking at the engine, things like that. The car. Are you big into cars or boating? Rapport builder right there. Yeah, I love cars. I got this classic Chevelle. Yeah, I mean, you understand that, right? Okay, can you tell me how you bought that Chevelle? You test drove it. You looked under the engine. That's what I sort of have to do. So, I mean, why are you looking to sell the property? Okay, now we look at more of the condition of it. Let me actually go in person and actually see it. That's how I do it. What happens if you can't get them on the phone? Try to text them and keep calling. Leave a voicemail and a text. Do you have a system where you call a list, people that don't answer, you text, then mail those who can't be reached? Yeah, that's kind of the, what do they call it, conveyor belt strategy. So do you have a system where you call a list, people that don't answer, you text? Yes, you can get like that. I sort of have a weird system where I kind of do it by zones. So my flow is like, I have my whole market. So zone 1, 2, and 3, those are geographical zones. Zone 1, I'll cold call that one. I won't call it back. My team will. And then zone 2, that month in January, we'll SMS blast it. And then the zone 3 will direct mail it. Then zone 1 got cold calling. So month 2, they're going to get SMS'd. And then month 3, they're going to get direct mail. That's kind of that's what my flow looks like. How long did it take you to get good at cold calling? Honestly, it took me about 10,000 hours. That's what it took. That's what it takes to be an expert in cold calling. 10,000 hours. Be an expert. Hit the like. Is it illegal to contact the buyers first? No, you can do that. What do you have to say about the new law that banned it? Okay, you're not being specific on this one. You're referring to the Trace Act, which I kind of went over at the FCC. They're worried about robocallers. You know, I'm calling about your car's auto extended warranty. And they're going against the top dog, the top complaint that the FCC gets. Now, Sam, if you're the guy who gets the top complaint on the FCC, hats to you, because you were probably a millionaire. So I had a guy today that said he's reporting me to the FCC because he's on the DNC list. I scrubbed for litigators. I never got my true company. And what do you say in those situations? Have a great day. I'll take you off my list. That's it. What's your thoughts on Dogecoin? I've made more money on wholesaling than I ever will on Dogecoin. I normally move on to the next cold call. What's a good response to people who just want to hear a cash offer without talking? I normally move on to the next call. What's a good response to people who just want to hear a cash offer without talking? Get their motivation. If they're not qualified for an actual wholesaling deal, it's not worth it. Like on the next one. If you're not motivated, then no. Thank you. What if the seller said you have an offer, you call me? You said you should have an offer, you call me. I'm actually calling about the property. Would you do the test drive? I already talked about it. So are you looking to actually, would you buy a car without test driving it? Then go from that conversation. I use PropStream. It's saturated. What's a good information website? I mean, you could go to ListSource. You're getting the same info though. What's your thoughts on Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow, and other apps that people can get better deals? Do it. You have to pay 7.5% for Zillow for commissions on the cash offer. High cash offer, but you have to pay 7.5% on top of that. Not worth it. The reason why motivated sellers are motivated sellers is because they don't want to deal with realtors and commissions. Offering a very high commission, a 10% commission with Open Door, let them do it, right? I don't care. When you have a seller that also, they deal with very, very nice properties. So usually they compete more with realtors than anything. So I'm not even mad about it. When you have a seller that has no wholesaler, do you just say that you're an investor? I just say I'm looking to buy properties for cash. See, okay. That's what you meant by that. I like the profile picture on there. That's cute, baby, with the Santa hat. I love it. But I don't say I don't say I'm an investor because I think that's an off-putting word. In my opinion, I would be sort of closer to just a guy who's looking to buy a property cash. That's it. It's in the 5 figures. It's a lot. Have you heard of Versum? Yes, I've heard of it. Haven't really tested it out. I know some big YouTubers have talked about it. I really need to talk to them about it though. Is cold calling SMS your main only marketing source? Are you doing so? Direct mail, cold calling, and SMS are my top right now. That's just because it works best in my market. Are wholesalers taxed 4 times a year? What's the briefest CPA? Yes. If you're making enough money, then yes. And we are. For zones 1, 2, and 3, how are you pulling new data every cycle where you don't run across the same people again? At some point, there's only enough homes in your market where you can be wholesaled, aka enough equity. If you have an equity in my market, again, my wholesaling market's only 200,000 people. Roughly, if I do all my zones, it's about 500,000. So think about it like that. I contact basically every single person with equity and I attack them every single month. And every single month, something different happens. The straw might break the camel's back and they want to sell now. I do direct mail on one list, let's say zone 1, every quarter. I get a deal, 1 to 2 deals on that list every single time, and they're $40,000 to $50,000 deals. I'm not worried about constantly marketing to a person. I always get deals from doing it, and I never have not. So how are you pulling new data? I mean, if you have equity, that's the new data I got. And usually I pull new niche lists, new probates, things like that. But that's kind of what it is true. There's only enough homes in your market that can be wholesaled. So why don't you talk to as many sellers as possible with equity? That could even be a deal. Talk to every single seller that could potentially be a deal. So it narrows down. That's it. Last question. Sam says, I love this Q&A. I am a millionaire. Yes. Sweet. I love it. So that's it, guys. That is cold calling for today. That is literally how you do it. So I appreciate you guys watching this stuff. If you get any value out of it, remember, smash that like button. Please do that. And remember, subscribe so you don't miss this. The one thing I can tell you is if you're subscribed to me, I will schedule these lives. So YouTube says it's scheduled, I think within 6 hours. So, cause YouTube's notification sucks. So put your notifications on there, but they're bad at it. So it'll pop up on your feed that Zach's going to go live in 6 hours. So usually Tuesday through Friday, about 5 p.m. I'm always live. So think about like that. Why don't you move to more markets if you keep cycling some data? Just curious, because we're doing 7 figures in our local market and we do virtual wholesaling. So we do that too. All right, guys, I really appreciate it. Thanks, Zach. Do you do deals in Palatka? No. Thanks, Zach. Thanks. I have property under contract. Sweet. All right, guys, I really appreciate it. Remember, get cold calling.